this. As I study, there's an argument on the inside of me, because while I could understand the unsaved saying that for a God or for a father loved his son so much that he would allow him to be torn apart, to be marred, to be nailed to a cross, to be bent up, to be just treated like that, spit on for somebody else's deliverance, that's foolishness. It doesn't take all that. While I understand that they look at it as foolishness and why was such horrible thing to be done to such a beautiful person who was sinless and who was innocent, I also understand and misunderstand why the church doesn't even know the power of it. So while the world says it's foolishness, the church treats it as foolishness because the church doesn't acknowledge it. And the church doesn't acknowledge that the fact of all that we deal with in Christianity is available unto us through the crucifixion of the cross. So we only have cross preaching at Easter time. But because we only have cross preaching at Easter time, we only have cross remembrance at Christmas time, then Christians are made ignorant and negligent of the power of God because we're not teaching them the power of God every day. Because when you understand the crucifixion, you will also understand that it just didn't happen for no reason. Because many believers don't even understand that innocent male human blood had to be shed for the remission of the sins of mankind. But before human blood was shed, it took blood in general to be shed. So in the Old Testament, we understand that Old Testament, that animals were shed. It had, somebody say it had to be blood.
It had to be blood.
Say it again, say it had to be blood.
It had to be blood.
So it just makes common sense when you begin to understand it. Now, to those that are perishing, it doesn't make sense. But those to us who say we are saved, it should make sense and make sure that it's the power of God. Now, while I am being sarcastic when I say should be saved, it's because most of the majority of the church doesn't understand the power of the cross. So let me slow down. In the Old Testament, we see that only the priest could sacrifice the animal on behalf of mankind's sin. Correct? God, knowing that we would end up, as mankind grew, running out of animals to crucify, had a wise plan in place. That we would not have to crucify or sacrifice any more innocent, pure animals, the first of its kind, the Bible says. And you would not only go to the priest. He said, let's make this easier. I'll send them a high priest that every mankind can go to. Black, white, Puerto Rican, yellow, green, brown, root, black, blood. As long as you're human, you can go to this high priest. But this is what I'm going to have to require of the high priest, that he shed his own blood. Because now his plasma looks like the plasma and DNA of a human being. So human blood in exchange for human blood requires the remission and the acceptance of mankind and mankind's sin. So we do not have to wait on the priest to crucify an animal for you and your family to cover the sin that you've committed. Now we can go to Jesus Christ. You don't need the priest. You don't need the pastor. You need the revelation of the Word of God and say, I can go to the high priest because the high priest was crucified for me. He shed his blood. So, when you answer that Jesus was crucified only for my sins, that is not enough, church. He was crucified for my sins instead for bulls and goats and animals that were crucified the first of its kind. And then the need to go to a priest and ask the priest to sacrifice it and go on behalf. God said no, because all men have sinned. Even the priest wasn't sinless. So now we need mankind to be able to go to man and go to the Spirit of God. This is what happens. You ever get on a phone call with a company and the person helping you is not doing their job, and you ask for the person above them and they don't do their job, and you ask for the...
Yep.
This is how it is with the Old Testament. God said, hold on. Nobody's doing their job. I need to send somebody so that human and mankind can have the direct access, direct connect with me. And I can't do that. Come somebody say, because God can't lie.
Because God can't lie.
He cannot set a law and go against that law. You understand what I'm saying?